Pedigree. I mean, Jaylen alluded to it, finding times to make plays in a game that you saw how it was going early, Boogie, and you mentioned the defenses, but obviously the kick out to Saquon for a big play, the push down the field to Devontae, and he goes up and wins. This has become about players sometimes for the Philadelphia Eagles, and this is without A.J. Brown having a significant impact, but his pocket movement to me was one of the themes of the night, just extending plays, keeping them going. We saw Michael on the prowl, and Jaylen was able to elude. That is one of the advantages of having a guy like him in these games. And also, while on the move, making good decisions. Outside of the fumble that got punched out, this was about turnovers in this game. This was about who was going to get a critical turnover in this game or who was going to make the play when it was needed. And Philly once again showed championship pedigree. I didn't like the end of the game with Green Bay having an opportunity to kick a field goal, but ultimately the team that has championship pedigree found the 2 or 3 hidden plays that they needed to make in order to come out on top.
You thought that was the right call?
For Philly to go for it? Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. We'll get to that later. Go ahead.
Go for it, for sure.
Mentally tough. Is there a more mentally tough and more mentally resilient team in the NFL? And I would say competitive greatness. It wasn't pretty, and I actually think it was more performance, or a better performance than maybe the numbers suggested. But that's kind of what this team is. Remember in the spring or a month ago, that's why Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni remind me a little bit of Brady and Belichick, because their run wasn't always pretty, but it was always that competitive greatness. And I go to the Devontae touchdown pass, and I just think of that was the one shot they got all game. Formation into the boundary, and it's A.J. Brown at the bottom of the screen. So it's quarters defense, right? Every defender has a quarter of the field, that's their zone. Naturally, the eyes are going to be paying attention to A.J. Brown at the bottom of the screen. So you get the ball fake, the tight end in the back, scissors. That downfield safety, that's where Jalen pumps. They're trying to get that safety to sit. I've now created the space for you, Devontae Smith. You have to go win. And you can go all the way across the field, which he does, and then makes a play. That was the only shot they had, though. And I go back to some of the quarterbacks that we've got to sit with on Monday Night Football this year, and Sam Darnold was the guy that was like, with the way defenses are playing nowadays, you only get so many shots every game. And to win, you have to hit them. And I think that's the example last night. They didn't have many opportunities, Philly. One. And Jalen Hurts made that one play with Devontae at that one time, and it's the reason they win the football game. It's competitive greatness.
Yeah, thinking about it on the Packers side, I mean, Jordan Love had that shot to Christian Watson, but he didn't get that completed.
The difference in that game with great teams,
you never know. They might have scored there. All right, Mina, it was a low-scoring game, but what about the defense from Philly last night?
My big takeaway from this game was that the Eagles' defense addressed what I thought was probably their biggest issue, was the lack of four-man rush, right? As much as we've worried about the offense, watching them at times, that defense has not gotten pressure with 4. And Jalen Phillips was a massive part of that. So was Nolan Smith returning. But you watch both of the sacks. I mean, Jalen Phillips is partially responsible for both of them because of the attention that he drew. First, the back, so Nakobe Dean comes through, and first it was the Jalen Hunt sack where Jalen Phillips is chipped, so Jalen Hunt gets a one-on-one, and then Nakobe Dean comes through because the back is worried about Jalen Phillips. I also thought he was extraordinary against the run. I think this is a big part of the reason why they traded for him. Vic Fangio really wants edges who can set an edge, and he was excellent, obviously, on the 4th down, but throughout the game, I thought he was making numerous good tackles. So I come out of this game not panicking about the Eagles' offense, as bad as it looks at times, and feeling a heck of a lot better about this Eagles' defense as they head towards the stretch.
Yeah, and you really got to feel good about the Packers defense, too. I mean, in their 3 losses, they've held teams under 20 points. We'll talk about the Packers in just a little bit, so don't worry. We'll get to that side. We're just getting started on NFL Live. Our veterans today, and courage can show itself in any number of ways, from on the football field to off of it. In 1967, one man, Rodney Davis, showed the ultimate form of courage during the Vietnam War. As the Marines celebrate their 250th anniversary, Jason Kelsey has the story of one Marine who personifies sacrifice.
Valiant, selfless, courageous. Words that describe Sergeant Rodney Davis, a 6-year Marine veteran.
Just knowing that your grandfather did something like incredible and put his life on the line,
How old were you when you learned about your grandfather's actions in Vietnam?
Maybe like 5 or 6.
Offensive lineman Tyler Steen spends his weekends protecting the right side of the Philadelphia Eagles offense. A fitting connection since his grandfather, Rodney Davis, always embraced the role of protector.
He protected his siblings. If there was ever any trouble in the neighborhood, you know, they could count on him going in and taking care of whatever.
Shortly after graduating high school in 1961, Davis joined the Marines. In September of 1967, Sergeant Davis found himself in the thick of battle in Vietnam as platoon sergeant.
His role was a right guard. As a right guard, he was basically third in command of the platoon. He made sure all the men had anything they needed.
Davis and his platoon were under attack from over 2,500 Vietnamese soldiers.
And the NBA were just coming at them. They started throwing grenades. Sergeant Davis and his 5 Marines with them were in a trench. It was almost like a ballet. Grenades would land in the trench, and the Marines would jump out of the trench, and it would go off. Then they'd jump back in the trench because so much enemy fire coming at them. And finally, one grenade went high and made the Marines duck their head, and they lost sight of the second grenade.
A grenade had landed in that little hole, that bunker, and we, saw that and decided to go and cover up the grenade and absorb the blast from the grenade and save a bunch of people's lives. So.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Sergeant Davis jumped on a grenade to save the lives of 5 soldiers. A selfless hero, dead at the age of 25.
All 5 of those Marines were white, and he was African American at a time when Jim Crow South was still prevalent in Macon, Georgia, and elsewhere.
He gave his life for other, he gave up his life for other Marines.
On March 26, 1969, Sergeant Rodney Davis posthumously received the Medal of Honor. What does it mean to your family, your grandfather's sacrifice? Do you guys talk about it often?
Yeah, I think it means a lot. Just kind of, again, knowing that type of sacrifice that he made is like something that you definitely want to try to live up to. I can, honor my granddad by go out there and play and try to play to the best of my ability.
Your grandfather, when he made this decision, was 25 years old?
Right.
You yourself are now 25 years old? Have you thought about that?
This is somebody that, when I'm growing up, it's like, oh, he's a hero. Now that I'm his age, it's one of those things, again, that just brings it even more into perspective, just kind of, the magnitude of it.
Just an amazing story. And on this Veterans Day, we want to give a special shout out to a friend of the show, Mina's dad, Peter Kimes, for his 20 years of service in the U.S. Air Force. Mina, I know this means a lot to you.
Yeah, obviously very proud of my dad. Born on Offwood Air Force Base, grew up on a bunch of Air Force bases, and it was just his birthday, so I want to also say belated happy birthday to Pete Kimes, who's the reason I love football and also just the rock of our family.
Ah, gives me chills. So well said. We got a lot more coming your way today on NFL Live. As we do say, happy Veterans Day. Still to come, Green Bay drops 2 straight after falling to the Eagles at home. Is this all on Jordan Love, or is something much bigger going on in